Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. It's getting towards the end of the year. I hope you still can have a nice time. Winter time in the Northern Hemisphere towards Christmas. Unfortunately, I hear from different friends it's getting quite tight in different places. Unfortunately, that's the situation all over the world. I don't think it will take very long time and this will start to crumble. Until then, we just have to go through it with good spirits, as good as we can. I've been coming to that subject again and again, but that is what is happening, and it's everywhere. Everyone is somehow has to deal with it, and of course, because of that, it's a lot in people's mind. Something that has been controlling for a long time has to go, and there is a desperate attempt to hold on to the power, to hold on to the control, to make it worse in order to establish itself unshakable, but at the same time, it's already starting to crumble. It has to go, and what is coming out of this whole situation will be quite a new chapter in this human history. Don't forget this, even if you have to go through hard things from day to day, sometimes right now. It will go. It has to change. Okay, I'm not talking more about it. I talk about another subject. It has come time and again in the Satsangs here on the roof. I don't know whether I have been talking online. I guess I have also. But I have been discussing with friends recently. And it's about taking psychedelics in order to help, to purify, in order to help spiritually to develop. There comes always the question, is it possible at all? Can it really be helpful? The one thing that is very popular right now in those circles is ayahuasca. Can it be helpful to take it? Because people tell me all these fantastic experiences they have. Now, it can be possible that people with this substance or others experience something that gives a good pointer. But what matters is that after that we do the work. It's not that you can take any substance and then that substance is going to do the work for us. We are having barriers of perception. And those barriers, they are very annoying. One can feel easily trapped in those, but they protect also from getting into spaces one is not quite able to deal with and integrate it. And then through the work, through the inner work, these barriers slowly get weaker and eventually they may crumble one after the other. But by that time, the maturity is there to deal with it, to integrate it, not to get lost into another space, into a subtler space. Now, with a substance that is breaking through those barriers, we are doing it artificially. And of course, a mind that is not necessarily fully ready to deal with what is happening there, then there is a lot of projection going on. Still, people can get inspired. I can accept that. People can get inspired if they have after that the maturity to understand, okay, it was an experience, it has been giving inspiration, but what counts is what I'm doing with it now in my normal state from day to day, from moment to moment. That we are really learning to remove those things that prevent us from being in our natural state. If we stay at ease, at peace in our natural state, then gradually the experience of that will start to unfold and evolve over by itself. We don't have even to make efforts, and we don't have to take any substance. So it's a tricky thing. Those experiences are not quite the real thing. They are imitations. So one can have the wrong idea, having experienced something on a psychedelic experience, that they have seen the truth. They have seen some imitation of something that is there. A lot of it is projected by our own mind. It's always good, those who do those things once in a while, to remember that. Not to take it as God's own truth, what they are experiencing, and not thinking that when the effect, because sometimes people have such an experience and after that for some time they still can connect specially, but gradually it will fade away again. And then if the thought is that, okay, I just take it again until it fades again and I take it again, that's an illusion, thinking that in that way they are spiritually unfolding. Simultaneously, with our getting more conscious, there is also a strength that is developing. And if that strength gets big enough, intense enough, then certain barriers of perception may just disappear because of that. When they disappear, then one is there, and that level is also integrated in the day-to-day experience. Whereas when one takes a substance, it's not because of one's accumulated strength that one breaks through those barriers of perception, but the substance does it and it uses your own vital energy. So one may get inspiration, but at the same time, it's always also, there is a price. One is losing vital energy. It may not necessarily be felt. Many times it's felt that people come out of it and feel totally down, an after effect, but it may not necessarily be felt. But still, strength, valuable energy has gone for that. So if somebody thinks that we can just take and take and take, then without being aware of it necessarily, they are getting, instead of stronger, have the tendency to get weaker and weaker and weaker. Now, if somebody really feels such things are helpful, do them very rarely. And then make a point that after that, you really be alert, really alert, see what is happening in yourself. In that way, you may benefit from the experiences you have. If one doesn't have that alertness, then the experience is wasted and the vital energy is also wasted. After that, after taking that, one has to work to build up that energy that has been lost. Can be built up again. But while I cannot completely deny that it can be helpful to some people, not to everybody, because it can be inspiring. Oh, it starts raining. Well, I can accept that it can be helpful for some people. It is also clear they have then to have the self-discipline to build up that energy again through their practice, through their meditation, through their yoga, through their introspection, and remind themselves to be alert from moment to moment. And then that inspiration may encourage them to go on with it. Thanks quite well, but I don't think it's going long because further back I see it's already getting clearer. If it continues, I have to run down and get an umbrella to protect my little thing. I think that's what I have to do. Because the wind is also carrying little drops here, and I don't want the computer and the phone to be completely wet. So, one little moment, my friends. Well, I'm back. I have to remove a bit the water drops. It didn't look like rain before, otherwise I would have been better prepared. Well, there we are again. I don't think it will go long, but still, it's better to protect the sensitive instruments. Anyhow, I've basically said about the subject what I wanted to say. If somebody has a doubt and asks me whether or not they should do so, basically I would say if you can do without it, that much the better. If you have the courage, the inspiration, the patience that just goes on, that much the better. If somebody feels that they need somehow an encouragement and some experiences, okay, but do it very rarely, do it very wisely. And connect it with self-discipline. But after that, you really regularly go about your practice, and when you are not practicing, that you remind yourself to bring the attention to the present and connect. Then that inspiration may be helpful to go on. If it goes without it, that much the better. Okay, I drop the subject now. Okay, let's continue with our Satsang in spite of the rain. I'm asking you, is there anybody who would like to come in? Please come.
Hi, good afternoon, Werner.
Good afternoon, Odi.
There are so many things that at least I carry with me that I would like to put them aside. But part of them are from time to time have a positive thing on my life, and from other times it can be negative or destructive. And I speak about two things. Achievement and habits. At least in my world, my Western world, achievement can be something that is a driving force that can be beneficial to me, to other, and whatever. But I aware for that I would say even for many times there are people who are getting hurt by this need for achievement or the moving to achieve something.
Right.
And again, and the same is with habits that we carry without. Usually are the result of some experience. They are keeping us, watching us, but they appeared in the wrong places, and then they can harm us or the others. What we do with those things that we carry over our shoulders?
Well, we have a good, honest look at them and see which ones are beneficial, and we can keep them, and we see which ones are not beneficial but rather destructive, and there we work on it to get rid of it. There's nothing wrong working for achievement, but it's good all along to remember, after all, I am what I am, whether I achieve something or not. This is just part of the play of this world, that I can achieve something. Then we can playfully do so without getting obsessed with it, without getting all worried about it, whether we succeed or not. And then when it's working, fine. And when it's not working, it's also fine. And when it's working, that alertness is there, that we are not getting all arrogant about it. Think, I'm better than other people. Well, the situation is just, I had the opportunity, I had the necessary drive to do something, so I achieved it. Nothing wrong achieving things, but be playful about it. Don't take it too serious. And those things that are there that we are carrying along, those drives that try to push us into ways where we know if we go there, if we push there, it hurts. It hurts living beings. Then let us detach from them and let them go.
I'm not afraid to remain with what you will call the eye of the true eye that is me.
Yeah.
But it's I cannot ignore that for many years I put layers and layers and layers of other things. Part of them are a result of not the need for achievement, but the force of achievement that is happening in the Western world. And whenever it's worked okay and positively, I ignore it. But when it's happened negatively, I usually aware about that only by the result. I'm disappointed from time to time to see that I'm falling again and again in the same hole in the road.
Just be honest with yourself. And even if you get sucked into things that you basically don't want, if you are honest with yourself, then you become aware. And then you can do something about it. But have the courage not to do things of which you know I really don't want them because I know they are not beneficial, neither for me, neither for others. That when you are in situations and the layers of the achievement, as you call them, would force you against your better conscience to do things, then it's better not to do them and bear the consequences that come with it.
Can you extend and say more about being honest with yourself? It seemed to me that it's a goal or the core of ourselves to try to be honest, and then things will be okay around us. But can you say something about this?
Yes. First, that will must be there to be honest, because we don't know usually if we have not made steps to become more conscious, more self-aware, then people don't know how dishonest they are with themselves and with the whole world around. So that first decision must be there, that intent. I want to be honest. I want to be honest with myself, and then look at oneself. And there are a lot of things that we don't want to see, we don't like to see, and the tendency is to just cover them up and justify them, even if deep down we know, no, something in me is really pushing totally into a different directions, and still for the comfort of it, for the external benefit of it, I'm still doing it. But if we honestly feel we should not, even if it gives unpleasant consequences, then it's better just to have the courage not to do that. Then you are at peace with yourself, even if from the circumstances we may have to face sometimes more difficulties. We're doing so many things out of comfort, not to disturb our personal comfort, but if we would look a bit deeper into ourselves, then we would see, hey, something in me tells me it would be much better to go a different direction. And there it's good to develop that courage. But honesty, to be honest with oneself, it should be natural. But we have learned, we grew up in a society where most of the people are not honest. And so we have picked up to do the same and pick up the ideals of the society and get quite conditioned by it, that the achievement is more important than being happy with oneself. And no matter the cost and no matter what it does, if we have to walk over others to achieve, then it's also all right. and such things. And even when people do that deep down, they feel, no, it should not be like this. We should be capable to be in harmony and not hurt others and still go for our achievement. And once the achievement is there, and we get to a certain position because of that, then that we are honest with ourselves and don't let the comfort of the position push us into doing things that we don't want to do. And the honesty can be learned. It should, as I said, it should be natural, but we learn not to be honest. And then when the intent is there, then it's like we have to learn something new, although it should be there. And like anything that we are learning new, we are getting better by practicing. Again and again, remind ourselves, okay, let me have an honest, good look at myself and consider the situation through that perspective. And by practicing consciously, willingly to be honest, we are getting more and more honest.
It's very, very, very important. I'm looking, I found to myself that whenever I have a feeling that I'm struggling inward or outward, it's a wake-up call for myself.
Yes.
And maybe this will be the point that is calling me back to the inner part, to the honest part of myself.
Yes. Right.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I wish you well. Hari Om. Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome. The rain has stopped. It was, as I thought, quite a short downpour.
Hi, Werner.
Hello, Helen. It's been a while.
Yes, I've been away again. Yeah, my mind was always telling me it's the same question, but this thing of honesty has sparked off something in me. To be honest with myself,
Right.
as I realised that coming to Tiru is just, in a way, avoidance. Blaming my mother for her madness, dementia, for my state of mind is also not honest. And I realised that whatever, even if you take my mother away or you take circumstances away, it's all within me. And so at the moment, I'm sort of accepting how much what I believe my mother is throwing on me, her paranoia, her fear, her nervousness.
Yeah.
It's within me. So even if she was taken away, it's all within me. So at the moment, it's like a real honest look of what's going on inside of me. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, just relax. Just. But I need to hear it again.
Yes,
I need
right.
to, because I feel at the moment like a little bit shocked at what I blamed outside within myself. The situation of COVID, other people's paranoia about COVID and fear and stuff, it's all within me. You know, it's not the fault of anything else, you know. And I know that kind of logically for years, yes, it's all within myself, but right now I'm really experiencing it, that it's all within me.
Yeah.
So I just really, I guess I'm just asking for some encouragement. To repeat what you always say.
Just
what
relax. Just relax. No, but it's good to see that you have it in yourself, but be careful that you don't start to blame yourself because of that. It's still, I mean, your mother is pouring her stuff on you. What is in yourself, that there is something that is reacting to it.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Because if you don't have that, if you don't care of all that outpouring thing, then it just passes through. So it's not necessarily that it's all your paranoia and your aggression that comes to you, but you are getting rattled by it, you are getting shocked by it, because there is something that is reacting. And that's your part.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
It's very good to see it. It's not very pleasant to see it. But it's very good to see, okay, I'm having my part in it. But be careful not, when you see it, that you start to blame yourself and say, it's all my fault, it's all my fault, it's all my fault. It's not the question of distributing guilt to others or yourself.
Yes, yes.
It's not about being guilty, but just see, okay, there is something in me that reacts to the situation, be it with the mother or with the society and the general paranoia that is there now. With all the pressure, with all the hatred, with all, I mean, we have intense times. It's for granted. And it's no point in standing there and then distributing guilt or taking the guilt on oneself, but just see, okay, there I'm still reacting, and observe the process of when aggression comes, when attacks come of any type, then see what I'm doing, how I'm reacting. And then you can focus on that and learn to let go of that.
Yes. That's hitting the point. Thank you. Because it's getting more and more like the attacks are more and more aggressive, you know, that I'm stealing from my mother, that she wants to call the police, all this stuff. And the reaction is like hurting my heart. And then also an inner anger, you know, like an inner, like shaky anger. And I think it's the fact that I'm taking that energy, that reaction, and giving it a name and giving it a form, instead of actually just experiencing that emotion in its pure form. I'm actually attaching something to it that makes me feel hurt. I don't know. I'm understanding something. I don't know what I'm understanding, but
something is getting through that. I'm aware of that.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
So don't start to feel guilty about it. Just see there is that reaction there, and I can learn not to take that serious anymore, and then the reaction also will go.
Yes.
And then even when attacks come, it's not necessarily pleasant, but then they come, they go, and they don't leave a trace.
Yes.
I wish you well. Hariyo, hariyo, hariyo. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome. All right.
Hello, Werner.
Ah, there comes Moksha.
Yeah, I can
Hello,
see.
Moksha.
Hello.
I can
Yeah.
hear you. I cannot see you. Oh,
Yeah,
now
I'm
I
coming.
see something.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
Um,
And I see your son behind you. Is that your son?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he's a sportsman.
Uh-huh.
But I'm still, with one hand, I'm stronger than him. With one hand, I'm weaker. He's more strong. So I'm also training now that I can control him a little bit. What we were speaking last week about Corona, that you say it is important for me to stay in contact with myself.
Yes.
I feel it is so important for me to remember to stay in contact. And I have a little trick is for me to ask myself, if I see people, do I feel love if I see them, or what is going on in me? And I often see how quick it can change in really, I don't like, or hate is a little bit too big word, but that there is very quick no love for somebody. There's touch something in me, and directly the other is and then to remember, oh yeah, that's for me a good trick to stay in contact with myself.
Right.
Also in relationship now, I have something going on with Daphne, and and then how closer it is, how faster it goes, that something is touched in me, and that the reaction is like, and then, oh, can I still feel love for her or love this person? Oh, it is sometimes shocking how fast it turns around, like amazing.
It's amazing. There is that emotional love, the emotion, love, and of course, like every emotion, it changes within a heartbeat. And it's not that we should try to artificially, emotionally love everybody all the time. It's not possible. Emotions, they change. That's their nature. They come, they go, they have peaks, they have lows. And naturally, if there is an adverse situation, that emotion changes. And then that emotional happy love may fly away. But this is not really the love. The real love is that you feel that basic connection from living being to living being. It's not an emotion. It's anyhow there, that connection. But then in our relative life, we may feel that more with certain people than with others. But it's there with everybody, with everything. We cannot even remove it. It's the emotions that change quickly. And it's not that we should desperately try to emotionally produce love. It doesn't work. We become hypocrites in front of ourselves and everybody else. But it's good when you see that the emotion of love has the tendency to trip into the opposite emotion of anger, aversion, or if it's getting strong, of hate. That there you can put the breakers, and then it's better not to have emotion, and then no need of beating oneself up for not feeling that emotion. Love, it's enough of not sending out destructive emotions, destructive energies.
Yeah, it is exactly what you say. It is changing all the time.
Yes.
Something beautiful is coming. Something is touching me, and changing all the time.
Right.
And what I feel is so good now, it is both of us, we can stay with the unpleasant things that comes up.
Yeah.
And then it changed so quick in the opposite again, change back in and that's a great, yeah, it is what you say. If I cannot change it into be always in the same emotion, it is not possible, and it's also not necessary.
Right. It's not necessary, and it's not the nature of emotion. It's the nature of emotion that it's in waves. It changes all the time.
Yeah, and I see if I go with the waves, it is totally okay.
Yes.
It's no problem.
Yeah.
Because it's not the point to keep in the same emotional thing. It
Right.
is the freedom of I want to have it beautiful all the time. If that's not necessary anymore, it is very relaxing.
Yes. Right.
and that goes much deeper.
And the secret of then not building it up that there is some aversion there and getting stronger and stronger is that we don't fall into the trap when the annoyance emotion comes, that we fix on it and strengthen it by accusing the other. It's
Yes.
your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. But have a good look at ourselves and say, okay, I am feeling annoyed. So there I have to do something about that. And not standing there accusing the other.
This is the freedom, huh?
Yes.
I also see the whole stuff with Corona. Corona is not the problem. Corona is not the problem. What is coming up in me, if I can be with that, then I don't have a problem.
Mm.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Right. It's still an unpleasant situation, but we can learn in the midst of this unpleasant situation not to be affected by it. Externally in our actions, we can't avoid to be affected by it, but we can learn not to be touched by it in our inner experience.
And also beautiful things are happening because we
Yes.
are not allowed in a restaurant, and I have a place where I go. They say, oh yeah, we have to take care and blah, blah, blah. But always if I come there, I say, I can pick it up and eat it outside.
Yeah.
And they they no, come, you sit there and
Keep
nobody's
quiet.
there. Keep quiet. And it is so lovely to feel that the people are trying with each other to deal with the situation.
Yeah.
It's also very
nice.
nice.
Yeah,
you know?
know.
So I feel also in this crazy time, there is a lot of love happening under each other.
Yes. And we are seeing totally the manifestations of the dark part. But underneath, there is an energy getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And many people start to tune in to that more and more. And there is also simultaneously, with all the trouble that is happening, a worldwide awakening happening, that people are opening up to broader perspectives, to broader values, that they become aware. Actually, my old life was quite narrow and small, and there's the possibility to live much broader than that. This also is happening, but this doesn't manifest so strongly right now. It will take some more time till it becomes more visible.
Yeah, for me, it looks like it is also this Corona stuff. All our problems are based on fear, right?
Right. Without having put people into that fear state, this whole thing couldn't happen. You could not tell the people to stay at home and do this and do that. It's only possible because people are afraid. And that was very cleverly induced, that fear.
But I see also in relationships, all the problems, actually, they're all based on fear, right?
A lot of it, yes.
We are more connected with us. We can handle the unpleasant situations much easier.
Right, definitely.
But if the fear comes too strong, then I also see, oh, then I cannot handle it anymore, and then I jump on other people and do naughty things, let's say.
Yeah.
Do you know, Werner, one practical question? If I come to Tiruvannamalai,
Yeah.
Do I have to be in quarantine? Do you know?
No. It's possible that they will insist on a second test when you arrive. You have to give a contact address or phone number. And then in case you are testing positive, they will tell you, and then you will have to be under quarantine. But it's not that you come in and automatically you will be under quarantine. They're already giving only 1 month, so if they put people half a month in quarantine, then there's not much.
That's right. Yeah, and I was reading a very positive thing, because they are talking now that India could be the first country in the world where it is not Corona a problem anymore.
Well,
I was just reading a few days ago, because they have so many people have the antikörper in their blood.
Yeah.
They were testing, and the infections are very, very less in India.
Yeah. It's always tricky, the news, because they change.
That's true.
One time they say one thing, and one time they say the other thing.
That's true. That's true.
Right. But right now, it seems in one hand more relaxed. People behave as usual before. On the other hand, there comes in certain state that they are trying to get obligation for vaccine, that they want to make it mandatory for everybody. So
also,
both movements are there, and there is 2 organizations that fight hard against these kind of measures. that they make 4 cases against states that try to do it mandatory. So
they are.
it's a bit on a shaky ground how it's going to be in the near future.
Yeah, so because now if I talk with you, it comes strong up. Maybe I can go to India, you know. So I will see what will happen in the few weeks.
Yeah.
Will be some spontaneous
right.
matter.
After a few weeks, it may be a bit clearer.
Yeah. Do you know if you still can live in the ashram from Ramana Maharshi?
I don't know, but I have my doubts that they are taking guests. But you can contact them on their website. Yeah, and they can tell you. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the ashram is not fully open. It's open 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Thank you, Werner. Thank you, Werner. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Moksha just said sarcastically, that makes sense. And wherever we look in the world, what is happening, common sense is really something that is gone out of the window. What people are doing, what governments are doing, what people are doing to each other, it's like somehow the situation has killed common sense. And the natural way of dealing with situations. It's crazy. Anyhow, each one is responsible for themselves, how we are dealing with the situation. Whether we are getting pulled into despair by it, or whether we are capable of, in spite of what is happening, to connect here now with the self. Let go, relax in that timelessness of the now, and let that inner beauty come to the surface. And the more we are capable of doing so, the less it matters how the circumstances are. But I have all the empathy with people in difficult situations. And many, many people are in very unpleasant situations. Still, even if it's very unpleasant, we can either let the situation pull us into a depression, and then it's getting bigger and bigger and unbearable, or we can accept the situation as a challenge. Okay, in spite of that, there's something in me that is not affected by it. Let me connect with that and get stronger because of the adverse circumstances that actually, in the end, I'm benefiting from them because they have inspired me to go that much deeper into my own resources. Okay, is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Nelly.
Yeah, we talk about emotions today, and I have some difficulties with them, with handle my emotions. Yeah, I see a lot of them, and at first I told you about my travel with my father, and
Yes.
I felt a lot of irritation all the time on his behavior. Yeah, I see that. I understand that he forgets a lot of things and always asks me again and again about all this, all these stupid questions as I react. Yeah. And it was difficult for me to be quiet. I began to go out from myself, how to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, to react. Yeah. And then we came home, and now I'm home, and I felt this guilty inside me that I reacted so couldn't be calm, and that I couldn't be enough compassion to him, and all these feelings grew up. And yesterday I got know that my daughter got ill, and and this my feeling of guiltiness, they a little disappeared a little. It became less, and I was worried about her health and didn't know what to do. She had a high temperature, and I yesterday evening, yeah, very high temperature, and I didn't know what to do, to go to her or to call a doctor or not to do it because I didn't want to call a doctor. But yes, I was in all these things, disorder things and thoughts. Yes, I see it's, yeah, they just take me to other sides, all these thoughts all the time. I try to meditate. Today I sat again to meditate, but all these thoughts about your health were grown up, and I finished a little more quickly than always. Yeah, now she is better. But another thought came to me. Oh, she got this medicine that I wouldn't suggest her to do it, to take it.
Yeah.
And another worries again in my head, and I see that there are no limits.
Right.
All the time, something.
You can always pick up a subject and worry about it.
Yeah. Yes. Mind always takes it round. Yeah.
Now, for the first part, about after your journey with your father, and then now in retrospect you feel guilty for not having had enough patience with him and not enough compassion for his state. That guilt doesn't help neither you nor your father. So when the guilt comes, then just see that guilt. It's also an emotion that comes out of certain thoughts. Okay. And then see the guilt, see how it is manifesting, and let go as good as you can of that. There's no, then there will be a thought coming and say, but as if I need to feel guilty because it's unethical to be, not to feel guilty. But it's not so. Guilt is a wake-up call. It's okay that it exists, but then when it comes, you see, and then you let it go, not holding on to guilt. You can see that, all right, in this situation with your father, you could have been more patient in certain situations. So that is again an inspiration to strengthen that intent that you learn to be more alert and don't let emotions overtake that you don't want. But for that which has already happened, there is no point of feeling bad about it, but learn from it what you can learn from it. And then, of course, once again, as I have said you before, with your daughter, she is living her own life. She is responsible for her life. And if she's using ways that you would not use, then it's best to accept that she's doing it on her way instead of worrying that it's maybe not a good way.
Yes, I see. I try to to accept, every time. Yes.
If you have other ideas about certain things than her, then you can try to tell her. But if you see that she's not open to listen to you, then you can accept, okay, it's her life, her destiny. And if she makes steps, then she will have to bear with the consequences of those steps. And your worries cannot prevent it.
Yes, that's right. Worries doesn't help anyway.
No, they don't. They don't. So then when you become aware that you are into that mechanism of worrying, then withdraw your attention from the daughter and what she is doing and look at your worries, what they are doing to your experience right now, how they are affecting you down to the physical level, and then let go of that, relax that. And then when you can let go of the worry and you look again at your situation and the situation of your daughter, then suddenly it doesn't look so terrible what is happening. Without worrying, without thinking about it, we are making things bigger and bigger and bigger. And if we stop doing that, then still she may do things that you think it's not very wise, and she may do things that you don't like, but then so what? It's her life. She's her own being, and she has to go through her story in her way. If you can inspire her sometimes, great. But still, from day to day, it's not your responsibility if she makes step that you don't exactly approve of.
Yes, that's right. I tried again to unclutch my fingers. Yeah. To all these things. Yeah. To see how.
Right. And
Yeah.
clutching sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Werner, for your encourage. It's very important for me.
You're welcome. Hari Om.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Is there anybody else who would like to come in? Yeah, Nelly said we have been to, somebody's coming.
Hello, Werner.
Oh, hello, it's Victor. Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm quite fine, thank you. And you?
I'm very well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 1 day older.
1 day older than your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had quite a few interesting experiences going through this Satsang, talking about emotions and talking about how to have an honest look at oneself. And I think I mentioned, if I recall last time or previous time, that I had undergone quite a cathartic experience of coming to a non-intellectual but a deep gut feeling realization that I didn't really know much of anything, and how much freedom ensued as a consequence of that.
Yeah.
You know, because, and this sort of comes down to how I ended up having an honest look at myself, which resulted from the realization that I really didn't know for sure anything. All, you know, the thoughts that I had, the ideas that I had, what I wanted to achieve in life, etc., etc., and you know, all the way back to childhood, you know, experiences, traumas, magic, fantasy, the creation, you know, the development of creativity, everything sort of seemed to have evolved from environment, from situations, everything I knew from books, how I was taught, everything that I had read. And life flows on. And a few years ago, you know, I started doing yoga and the whole concept of moksha and samadhi and self-realization, and then Tiru and reading Ramana. And I, you know, and I said, I really don't know. I said, all I know about Ramana is the books that I have read, or I've been to Tiruvannamalai. But I never met the man. I really, deep down, I really don't know, because so much of it in my mind evolved from the way that I think, or my limitations and my capacity to understand and appreciate. And that was that gut feeling of just realizing I actually really don't know. And then it was like, do I actually have to know? Do I really need to know? Because what does it mean even if I did know, what difference is that going to make? And it was just this incredible feeling of just surrendering into this not knowingness and just being in that moment and coming through that experience, which was one of the most powerful experiences I ever had. And today, I feel incredibly relaxed. People keep on telling me how positive I am all the time. And I say, well, it's free of charge. You know, because here, you know, you mentioned about fear, and I mean, the whole Corona thing has been driven by fear anyway, and you can see it everywhere. And in Australia, there's been this whole rhetoric, and you know, you talk to some people, and people believe that China is going to invade Australia.
Yeah.
This is the rhetoric, right? They're talking about this, and Australia's going to spend $90 billion on nuclear-powered submarines, and I'm saying, I don't really think that China is going to invade Australia. They just want you to be afraid.
Yeah.
I said, forget about it. I said, I don't think the Chinese can be bothered invading Australia. It's too much effort, too much hard work, and it won't achieve anything. You know, but you know, and so I found myself as a consequence of all of this, just always being compelled to just try and put some light into the situation.
Yeah.
Just some light into the situation. And this has been my experience. And I don't even know how real it is, whether it's just another figment of my imagination. And I accepted that as a possibility. But I come back to how do I feel within myself in terms of the relationship within myself? And I feel very comfortable and very relaxed. I sleep without a problem. And my day-to-day is fantastic. And I go, well, I'll go with that. If that's a result of the figment of my imagination, then that is wonderful, because it works for me.
Great.
But I still really don't know. And I guess it's almost like looking for some kind of reassurance that, do I really need to know? And what difference is that actually going to make for me?
Yeah.
If I knew something or I don't know something. What do you think?
This wanting to know all the details comes very much out of insecurity, and then we think, when I know, then I'm secure, which is an illusion. So accepting the not knowing is actually, as you experienced, is liberating. If you are curious about it, about a certain field, and you want to know more about it, perfectly well to go and get that knowledge, but it's knowledge about something. The essential knowledge is something that is not knowledge in that sense, but an increasing sense of security and certainty that is just unfolding. So to live accepting that I don't know, you are much more open to that. That this thing can, this experience can unfold. It's a positive not knowing, not a defeated not knowing. I don't know, I can never know, it's terrible, it's finished. but
the opposite.
Then the other part of the question, do I need to know? Whatever little knowledge you need to function rationally on this level, that knowledge simply will be there in the situation.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Yes. Yeah, and look, I have been doing some reading, which interests me. You know, you talk about, you were talking last week about, you know, you were talking about the pure light, and also talking about, you know, the darkness and what we do.
Yeah.
You know, and yes, there is a great period of darkness. There's a lot of fear happening around the world, and you know, and those particular powers are clinging on, and there is another lightness of being that is coming through. And in one of my areas of interest, I keep on thinking about, you know, we do get into, you know, states of chaos, states of entropy, and then order tends to come out of it. This seems to be a natural phenomena anyway.
Right.
You know, and so I have faith in that force of nature, that there is chaos and then order comes out of it. And this seems to be something that's way beyond my control. There's a much higher power. It's a beautiful forces of nature, and it determines its own course. And like you say, all we can do is just watch the magic show, you know, and be in that experience, and to be blessed that at least we have that experience.
Right. And being aware of that blessing and remaining positive, there actually you contribute that this can happen smoother. And if we worry and get all gloomy and depressive, then that is also more negativity we are putting out into the current.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, that's good. That's good. And you know, just to conclude, I will say that, you know, your satsangs and your words have been a source of great inspiration for me, because you enable me to see something at a very simple, fundamental level that makes a lot of sense to me. And so I'm very grateful for that as well, because it resonates. And so I go with that flow. So thank you, Werner, very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for allowing to speak and to share with you and all the lovely people in this satsang.
It was nice for you to share. You're most welcome. Hariho.
Thank you, Werner.
Hariho. Hariho. There's some more time if somebody wants to come in. Yes, we have been talking a lot of emotions this time. And our emotions will influence our thoughts. Our thoughts will influence our emotions. The thoughts and the emotions influence very much the energy. Our energy, how it is manifesting. And the energy is very much influencing the body. So our thoughts, our emotion are influencing very much our whole experience. And actually, there is a common ground, something we can share in it, all the different beings that share this basic ground, this basic consciousness. But then we are very much creating our experience with our mind. It's amazing that in the same situation the one person can be in total terror and the other person can be in bliss. We have much more of a creative potential than we are usually aware, and unconsciously the mind is creating our reality, how we are experiencing. The moment-to-moment experience is very much filtered through what we are doing with our mind. And the more we become aware of it, the more we can sort of let that mental filter go and just touch the essence. And then playfully put our mental game into this material level to play our role, that somehow or other we have to behave, somehow, something or other we have to do. But whether we go about it cheerfully, joyously, or whether we are going through it as a victim that is being tortured all the time, there we can influence much. I mean, a lot. It's our mental creation. Of course, there is the momentum there from the past, the conditioning, maybe older karma, that even if you are opening up to the truth, even if you are opening up and try to relax, it may not always just totally function like this. But if we are not getting disheartened, if it doesn't just change our experience, but keep on bringing the attention back to the ground, where there is consciousness, where there is love, where there is joyousness, where there is creativity, where everything comes out of it. Then the old momentum that has the tendency to pull us under and to make us unhappy and make us do and feel and talk destructively, that hurts ourselves, that hurts others, that will melt away. Sometimes it's enough to see it and tough, it's gone. But sometimes certain things may have their own power for a lot of repetition in the past. And so it may take some time that we again and again look at it and see how our experience is shaped by our emotions, by our thoughts. Make those unconscious mechanisms conscious, and then we can detach from them and learn to more and more simply be. Simply be here now, timeless, spaceless. All right, let's stop the official part for today. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.